Commission meeting to order on February 23rd at 7 p.m. Russ, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item on the agenda would be to review and approve the minutes from February 9th.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved. And seconded. Discussion.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, passes unanimous. Okay. Next up, Director of Operations report.
Thank you, Mr. Stoker. Right out the bat, I see I made a mistake in the public comment for discussion. It's not a major item, but it's just items A through J. Hopefully we don't have public comment on adjournment, but hopefully that won't happen. Just a real quick thing about, I'm working with the Hoffman family on that permit. They have all the permits and some other documents that they're looking at and looking at the options to get that done. And they're aware of what needs to be done for the floodplain part of it, for the structure itself. And then they understand that once we get that addressed, then we'll be back before the zoning board with their project. There's no construction. No construction has taken place since November, since I contacted them and started this process. So, also just a reminder, I doubt it's happened, but just a reminder, if you go to inspect the properties that show up with applications, if you go by and look at them, that's great. But you cannot go onto the property without their owner's permissions. So if you're going to do that, you need to call and let them know that you would like to come look at your property. I have the legal right to do that as Director of Operations. I can do that, but I always call and let them know that I'm coming. So they're aware of it, so I'm not going to get shot at or anything. So that's just a reminder that that's just a reminder that you are considered trespassing.
Were you directing that directly to Raymond, or?
Well, yeah, it's
Well, I find if you show up in a bottle, you always invite me.
So, just a reminder of that. So, and with that, I don't have anything else to report.
Are there any questions for Todd at this time?
How you coming on our fences?
I need to address those. There's a couple of those I know.
You know, which are the ones you met
Yeah,
with?
and then also there's some situations, some trailers issues that are now looking like they're becoming permanent residents. Yeah, there's a couple of those things we need to deal with.
You never did hear back from them?
No.
Or did you send them?
No. So I need to visit Mr. Dolan about next move on that.
Remember them for a test case to see if we want to strengthen our ordinances to give us more power, or to give the police power, or whatever. Somebody power.
Yep.
But,
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to certificate number 202101.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Russ, seconded by Jackie. Discussion?
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep. We can see the setbacks. Pretty straightforward. Is there any public comment on certificate number 202101 before we move on? All right, we'll go ahead and close public comment on certificate number 202101. Any discussion? All right.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All those in favor of approving certificate number 202101, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Next up, E, update of initiative I-90, or 190. Todd, you got anything new for us, or is that?
No,
just-
there really isn't anything new with that. It's still in the legislature, and I recently saw where, I think it was a House bill that was presented to, excuse me, to extend, maybe Russ, I'm trying to think of the right words,
Yeah.
extend the implementation of the,
Correct, for at least a year. Till next year. So they can get their ducks in a row. And it hasn't moved from there yet. That's where it's sitting.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything else is status quo. That's the only House bill that's been even addressed regarding that.
Okay. Is there any public comment on item E at this time? All right, we'll go ahead and move forward to item F, update/discussion of proposed changes to the uses. Last time we discussed that we would just start going through.
Mr. Chairman, just real quickly, I'd suggest maybe switching G and H, because I don't really have anything to report on H.
You don't have anything to report on?
No, and then we could real quickly approve, hopefully, the bylaws commission, so then we can spend more time on.
So you want us to step out of order is what you're doing there, Todd?
Yeah, I'm asking that.
Oh, okay. I don't see there being a problem with that unless anybody from the public has any problem with that. All right. I'm sure it'll probably make you guys happier. We'll put you on the agenda, bump you up. See? We can get you out here earlier if you want.
Well, not that I wanted to stay here, because I think we got somebody's gonna be interested in being on the zoning board.
Oh, really? This is great news. Awesome. Okay, so if there's no objections to that, we'll go ahead and move forward. We'll take Todd's suggestion, and we will move to item F, which is an update of the proposed annexation and zoning of the Noble area.
Yeah, I have no report for that.
Okay. So we have some neighbors still here. They just want to know, so you don't have anything to say?
No, I don't. It's just on the agenda so that it doesn't fall off the radar.
So basically, at this point, what are they waiting on? What do they have to?
Well,
We have a public hearing scheduled for this, don't we?
yes, we need to do
City
that.
council?
No, the zoning commission on the 23rd, correct?
Well, I thought they have to be annexed.
Well, wait, to next meeting, I'll put it on the agenda, and then then we can talk about annexation, and then also the zoning, suggestion of what type of
The
zoning.
annexation is
Well-
already been approved by the planning board. We don't approve annexation.
No, I mean the city council. I thought you said the city
Right.
council has to go before the council.
Right, but first it has to go before the zoning. We have to have the zoning hearing
And do it at the same time?
Right, so we
Okay.
will say when it's annexed, it will be this zone, and that's why we're having a hearing on the 23rd.
So have you heard back?
We haven't set the date for that one. It is the
I thought
23rd.
we had, oh,
Yeah, that's just-
I'm a hearing off.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, never
Different
mind.
hearing there.
Right,
We had that one
right.
earlier today.
Right, no, we have to have a hearing to determine what we're going to set the zones for. And then it will go to the city council, who will do the annexation when they annex it. it will be annexed as whatever zone we recommend.
So
Is that how
with
that
that,
goes? Am I saying that out of turn? But I thought that's how it went.
Simultaneously.
Right. We have the hearing to zone them, and then it goes to the city council who has the hearing to annex and zone at the same time.
But if you're taking the recommendation of the planning board, they have to approve their minutes, then you take the directive of those minutes.
Right. I think the planning board already, well, I don't know. Maybe that, no,
We haven't,
Yeah.
okay, because it's been.
but that's on the next,
Okay.
planning board meets next.
So
Thursday.
they're bringing it back then.
Right, so I just
Okay.
don't want y'all to get
Okay.
the cart in front of the horse.
All right.
But yes, they will be simultaneously
Okay.
once both entities have come forth.
Okay. I guess I-
so with that, back to our discussion last week, if you landowners would like to get together and kind of come up with what you would like the zoning to be, what you would propose everything around it is C2. So if that's something that you guys would like, or if you want to stick with something different, that's what you probably needs to happen with you guys.
Show me on the map where you're talking about right now.
Right here,
Okay,
Noble Avenue.
yeah, that's on the west end of town, east end.
Yeah, northeast. Northeast.
Yeah, where's that from the potatoes?
Oh, a long ways.
Okay,
How does that
gotcha, okay,
It's up at the golf course.
gotcha.
Are you in the area over there? Or?
I'm Delbert Hunt with Ground Hog.
Oh, okay.
And one's 28,
yeah, 28 East Clark Street. Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Hunt was a son.
Oh,
He was,
okay.
he was a Zoomer.
I
know, right?
attempted to, but I
Right,
don't, I was literally getting every other word and I'm not really sure what.
Well, I'm really glad you're here. So
Okay.
we'll always glad to see you face to face. So there will not be any more discussion about that today. You know, we didn't have it on the agenda about the hearing, but it will be coming up on the next meeting.
Yeah, 'cause there's nothing in here.
There'll be
Another
another
next
hearing
meeting.
on it.
Yeah, we just.
No, not another hearing, but the meeting. The next meeting we'll have it on this regular agenda.
Okay, so we missed a hearing then, or?
Yes.
Earlier today. Well, he was
Earlier
on.
today, so.
But you participated though by Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did get my comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know that I elaborated on the way.
But it doesn't hurt to come back. It doesn't hurt to be back at the next, like we told the other people there at the hearing, the next 3 regular meetings will be discussing it, so you won't get those.
Did I? How come I didn't know?
That's because it's very confusing the way they laid this out.
I come Saturday.
Well, I don't know why it comes Saturday, but, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't get to make my comments and I'm a little upset over that right now. Oh,
Okay, well, we're sorry about that. That's a modern technology all this.
all right.
If you want to, if you'd like to type them up, what your comments would be, we can have it put in. When are you working on the minutes from this deal?
Oh,
Well, we'll take public comment up to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we can write.
So if you want to type up what your feelings are there, and then like I said, show up to the meeting.
That's the first step.
It's not gonna, we're not gonna, even at the next few meetings, we're still not, there's public comment on it.
Okay.
So you can have
That's a good point. I need to have it by
Friday before.
the Friday before.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Graham just mentioned it. I need it by March 5th.
Okay,
If you'd like to do a written comment.
that works. So, sorry, I got lost here. Did you switch back to the potato salad?
This gentleman was on Zoom
Yeah, yeah.
and was having a hard time with hearing and.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, so we just said he could
Yeah, so
submit
you're
his,
talking about potatoes.
we could have him submit his comments, yeah.
I was just trying to track.
Trying to keep track. We're all over the place, Ed. All right, so, so moving on, so I guess where we're at on that, Todd's saying there's no real update. It wouldn't hurt if you guys can get together while the planning board is doing their thing, and maybe come up with a desired zoning, you know.
If the planning board is discussing, you might want to go to the planning board meeting.
When's that?
That's next Thursday night.
Next
Not,
Thursday
not
night.
2 days, but the following,
Next week.
March 4th.
March
March 4th.
Okay.
Yep. 7 o'clock. Same room, same.
They're not as good looking as we are.
Yeah.
the secretary looks identical.
Is that just
Yeah.
Have you
So anyhow, that's, I guess, all we have with that.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry,
And then, huh?
sorry for the confusion.
That's all right. All right, so then we'll go to G.
No, F, no, G, yeah, you're right. I'm shutting the hell up.
All right, going to G. So can we approve them?
Yeah.
There, Jackie?
Yeah, I did.
Sometimes you find out who are teachers
Yeah, oh yeah.
when they go through these, and I appreciate it.
All right. Holding your feet to the fire.
Yep, and I appreciate it.
Is there any public comment on G before we proceed forward? Which is the approval of the bylaws. All right, then we'll close the public comment portion of that item.
Hurry up.
Russ, was there anything?
Hurry up before
We got a
Russ.
motion?
Hurry up before Russ finds something.
Hold
Got a
on.
motion on the table?
Let me tell you, line up.
Moved. Got a motion by Raymond.
I'll second it.
Seconded? All right.
Call for the question. Quick
Question been called for.
Question?
You got it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Yes.
Abstain.
Sounds good. We've got them before March, so that's good.
No, thank you for the scratching.
All right. Now we're going to go back to the discussion of the uses. So we talked last time that we would just go through and look up each individual use and the definitions and go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Raymond?
Okay, I got accessory building in my chapter 17, 10810 definitions.
Accessory building.
That's number one on the list. And actually, the first page, hopefully they should follow.
Accessory building, yep.
It should follow pretty close. So I guess we need to basically read the definition and see if everything is okay in here. And if the definition is okay, should we compare it to what you got for a definition, Todd, or how do you want to do the definition? Todd's got the book that they mentioned in there that we're going to use for definitions. But I don't know if there's any better definition in there than we got here.
All it has in here is accessory dwelling or accessory structure.
Okay, we have accessory buildings. Should we change that to,
Rule 3, the definition.
Okay, accessory dwelling. A dwelling unit either attached to a single-family principal dwelling or located on the same lot and having an independent means of access.
okay, see, there's one of the things we need to discuss on changing. Is we have accessory building here. And then we have accessory dwelling.
Okay, and then it's accessory structure is a structure detached from a principal building located on the same lot and customarily incidental and subordinate to the principal building for use.
So it's in dwellings, right? This is in dwellings or residential and buildings.
buildings are commercial or manufacturing.
So the last sentence in that accessory building is a little bit confusing because it says a dwelling unit either attached to a single household principal dwelling or located on the same lot and having independent means of access is considered an accessory building,
Right,
which is the accessory dwelling unit.
right, that's why I said we need to make up our minds,
Yeah, because that's a little bit
how we want.
contradicting there.
Right,
Mhm.
well, ideally, we only have one place in the thing, to talk about the one thing. So, in that book, does it say an accessory building should not be a dwelling? I guess what I'm thinking, an accessory building would be like a garage, a shed,
Yeah.
tool shed, or something like that, and not a dwelling unit.
That's where we need to take the word dwelling out.
Right. And
We use it to
what does yours say,
attach to a
Todd? Does
single
it say anything
household
about living in
principal
an
dwelling
accessory
or
building?
Under comment, it makes accessory dwelling differs from an accessory apartment in that if permitted by local ordinance, it has a separate means of access and can be separate structure on the lots.
So basically, it says it's not a building if you're living in it too. It could be an accessory apartment or whatever. So if we added in there somehow, and I don't know the proper ways to do it, that makes it so you cannot live in an accessory building. To live in it, it needs to be one of the dwellings. An accessory dwelling, or, you know, we've got 15 different dwellings that could be, you know, everywhere from dwelling, accessory, which, I guess what I'm thinking is if.
Take that last sentence out, is what you're thinking?
Right, to make it so you can't live in an accessory building, because I guess what I'm thinking is, if you put one of them storage sheds in the lot and call it an accessory building, and then all of a sudden you move into it,
Mhm.
that would clarify it, saying if you're gonna live in it, it needs to be a dwelling of some kind,
Mhm.
is all I'm thinking. I don't know if that clarifies it or not.
Because I'm looking in here, there's nothing that says like sheds, there's no place that would be a storage shed that I could see.
Right, and that's something we brought up last time, we need to figure out. In here, we need a storage shed. Of course, they got many warehouses for storage units, but.
Yeah, that's not shed to me though.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
are you gonna take public comment on each of these?
On each of them?
Yeah, I think I can add to this.
Yeah, why don't we do that? It's probably not a horrible idea. It's gonna take a little longer, but it's not a bad thing.
It's gonna take more.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We'll be here for a long time, so
Right.
might as well.
Well, yeah, Ed Mooney, and I may or may not have this totally sorted out, but I think the situation is that a dwelling is a building. If you look at the definition, but all buildings aren't dwellings.
Correct.
And if you look at the definition of a dwelling, it starts out a building or a portion thereof meeting the requirements used by one household, as defined in whatever. So a dwelling's a building, but a building includes things that aren't dwellings.
Right.
And the principal building is the building that defines the principal use. So normally the bigger one, the one that's obvious, I guess. If it's a house, that's the principal building. Then I think it's pretty well sorted out once you get the big picture. Then there's a dwelling unit. And that's spelled out as consisting of basically bathroom and kitchen and someplace to sleep, I guess. And so a dwelling can have more than one dwelling unit. I believe, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So those things all kind of have to go together, I think. And then there's an accessory dwelling unit. There's a dwelling accessory which has been added onto or created within a single household house. An accessory dwelling comma accessory. And that conflicts a little bit with some of the other code, I think, in that, if I remember right, an accessory dwelling, well, that's an accessory dwelling unit that can either be above a garage or within a house, right?
Yes.
So it's important to keep dwelling unit separate from dwelling, which is a building. And I think.
Well, the tough part there, Ed, is you look at accessory building, it doesn't say they're allowed at all in R1, R2, R3, but it says accessory dwelling unit is allowed.
Yeah, and it is.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's defined in the code. In the code specifically, what that means by accessory dwelling unit, it can either be above a garage. A garage cannot be converted to an accessory dwelling unit. So an accessory dwelling unit can be above a garage, or it can be within the house, and it's limited to a certain percentage of the area of the house and things.
Yeah.
So a dwelling unit is sort of a one household thing. A dwelling is a house, but it could be a duplex. There's like a dwelling comma duplex in here, I think, somewhere. So
I guess all I'm saying there is it allows an accessory dwelling unit, but it's saying it's not allowed an accessory building, which is the most basic. That's the building. That's the most basic form of it in that use table.
yeah, but a garage is an accessory building. A
Yeah.
detached garage is an accessory building. Or yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Anyhow, it just further points out why we have to do something,
Yeah.
because it doesn't.
It's subordinate, but it just means it's subordinate to the principal use. It isn't the same as principal use,
But-
it's an accessory of any kind. A fence is an accessory structure. Anyway, I've had a hard time keeping straight in my head what this dwelling unit, dwelling, building, and that kind of thing are, but an apartment is a type of dwelling. That's one thing that we did get the dwelling comma something.
Yes.
So there's a dwelling apartment definition, and that just means an apartment building, right?
Yep.
So, okay.
Thanks, Ed. So, back to the definition of accessory building. It says a subordinate building or portion of a principal building located on the same lot as the principal building or subordinate use of land, either of which is customarily incidental to the principal or to the principal use.
The house is not an accessory building, it's part of the house.
Again, if someone wants a shed, is that an accessory building? Because that's how I'm interpreting.
Right, I would interpret a shed as an accessory building. Correct. That's what and that's why.
So according to this, in R1, R2, and R3, those are not allowed.
Well, you can't, or
Which
even,
doesn't make
well, the
sense.
same thing, so you can't have a garage, if you look in where it says garage, you can have a garage attached, but not a garage, not attached,
Detached.
which would be an accessory building. And so that's why I thought that we need to make.
So if I'm interpreting that right, which there again, that's what we have to do, it just doesn't make sense.
Right, it don't. An accessory building should be allowed in all zones.
I mean, it's a shed essentially.
Right.
And dwelling units,
but
yes, those should be
It should
restricted.
not be able to be a dwelling.
Mhm.
It should be a shed. And if you wanted to come in and try to change a shed into a house, then you come in and you put in and you say, I want to change this into an accessory dwelling. And you follow all the codes that the accessory dwelling requires you to do.
Mhm.
If it's allowed, then you can do it. If it's not allowed, then you can't do it. See, because that's kind of what happened to us down here when they moved that shed in and then turned it into a house. So if we make it more clear. you
So
can-
I don't completely disagree with what Ed was saying as far as you take that portion of it and then you combine it with this other portion, but I'm almost wondering, if we need to redo that whole thing. The definition. Make it, what does yours say?